long list of unusual federal government preparation activity that coincides with October 1st. And now we have the federal government is shutting down on October 1st.
Right.
And we had the banking system of Panama shut down for 5 days, reopening on October 1st. And I only bring this up because Panama is dollarized. The Swiss Army held a war drill. I mean, when did you ever hear of the Swiss Army holding war drills?
Well, that's what's starting to get everybody's attention. You're right on the money, man.
And the drill was a scenario of France invading Switzerland to take the gold out of the Swiss banks. You know, this circus going on in Washington, is this smoke and mirrors?
I believe in the old theory, you're innocent until proven guilty. I think it's a smokescreen until it's not proven to be.
They're doing something, but they're diverting the people's attention away from what is really going on.
Well, that's happening on the news all the time. You know, you look at these news stories, and some of them even on Fox, they'll run them for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they just beat them to death. But somebody's edging them on to do all these things, and look at the things that are happening. For example, all these trial stories that have been in the news in the last couple of years. You know, they dominate the news of accidents and murders and things like that. But look at all the other things that are happening that don't make the news because they're making a 2-week story out of these things.
Mm-hmm. In the past day or two, there's been a lot of earthquakes, including the Atlantic region. And then over the weekend, there were a number of fireballs. And then last Friday, an asteroid zipped past the Earth that they didn't see coming. And we've got this big comet that's coming in, ISUN, that's going to be visible to the human eye this fall. And I just read a report where some astronomers said, September was a very unusual month for the number of fireballs that were spotted. And I'm just wondering, Senator, I mean, could the thing that they're preparing for, could it be even bigger than anything we're talking about?
I have heard a number of things that could be. One of them is what you just said. A major catastrophic thing will be happening. And I should not even have said that to you now, because the source that I got it from, I said if I were you, I wouldn't even tell people that, because they're going to think you're a wacko. Because how do you predict a national catastrophe? You can't predict that there's going to be a...
Unless you're tracking a space object and you can pinpoint where you think this thing is going to make an impact.
Yes, that you're right, and but that's one of the stories one of the things that has been on the list of things, and I put that at the bottom, but it could well be at the top, and I've never mentioned to anybody but you today, but I wanted to preface it by saying what I told that person, that if you or I ran around predicting a major earthquake in New York City or Washington, D.C., they'd think we were both should be in the same place.
Well, I'm prepared for anything. I mean, I would not be surprised. I don't expect the ruling elite to give us a heads up on anything for our own protection or benefit. I think we're on our own, and I have no way of verifying it. But I've been flooded lately in the last couple of days with people telling me about unusual preparation in the Puerto Rico region. And again, I don't know if this is just internet rumors but people are telling me that people in Puerto Rico are aware of things like body bags and, coffins and stuff being shipped and stored in Puerto Rico. Have you heard any of this stuff?
No, I haven't heard anything on Puerto Rico. My sources say it's either going to be a catastrophic thing, a militia thing, or a money thing. And My personal belief is, knowing what I've done working with these multi-trillion-dollar situations, is that, and considering that the Federal Reserve is not federal and it's not a reserve and they do nothing but print monopoly money, I think that the Achilles heel is the Federal Reserve, and if that happens, the dollar could drop by 50% in value. And I've been in 3 countries where this has happened before. And, you talk about a catastrophic situation. I was in Guatemala when, at 5 o'clock on Friday, they devalued the money 50%. And it wasn't, we were eating filet mignons for $5.95 American money. Mm-hmm. You know, they caught them so far off guard that no one had time to adjust. And I suppose it'll be Monday before most people could get it figured out. And what's going to happen if that occurs? I had a friend that was just contacted me yesterday. He wants to buy a condominium. I say, if you pay cash for it, fine. If you don't pay cash, you're going to be paying, instead of $300,000, you're going to be paying $600,000 if the dollar gets devalued to 50%. At least if you pay cash for it and the money goes down 50%, at least you're going to have the buying power of the original $300,000. Mm-hmm. So anyone that owns real estate that's completely paid for, that's the best thing you could have right now.
Another thing that I've been watching lately, and I might be reading too much into it, but it seems to me that on the global geopolitical level, that in the last couple of weeks, it looks like the balance of power has quietly shifted. You know, let's start with Syria. Mr. Obama does, he flexed his muscles and he pranced around like a proud turkey and did all that stuff. And then suddenly he backed down. I mean, he shut it down. And the French magazine reported over the weekend that the war was going to start at 3 a.m. on August 31st, and it was called off at the last minute when Obama just shut it down. It's almost like he got word, like he was told something. And but now what we have is suddenly the West has pulled all of their ships out of the Mediterranean. The Russians have sent about a dozen warships into the Mediterranean. The Russians are going to send troops into Syria. Mr. Obama is on the phone with Hassan Rouhani of Iran. Mr. Netanyahu jumped on a plane, flew to Washington this morning to try to stop it. It's like there's, and then Rouhani said last week, we're going to have a deal with the United States within 3 months. And Senator, it's like, I'm starting to think behind the scenes, have world leaders cut a deal and said, okay, here's the way the rules are going to be for the next 50 years. Kind of like after World War II?
I agree with you 100%. I'm so fortunate that I'm 75 years old. I've been involved in politics for, big time for probably 40, 50 years. But I've worked at a different level than most political people do. And I think that most everything that we're seeing is part of the blueprint. For example, the whole thing, what you're talking about with the Russian ships going in and out, all this thing is about is Russia wanting to get a pipeline over there to the ports. Mm-hmm. And even though it looks like Putin and Obama are squabbling and it's a power play.
Mm-hmm. And it just makes me wonder, did Mr. Putin call Mr. Obama and just tell him the way the facts are going to be from now on?
Well, I think they've been in cahoots from the beginning.
Or maybe that's the case.
Well, remember when they had the mic on him that time, when he whispered to him, when the election's over, then everything will be different?
I'll have more flexibility.
Yeah. Well, I think they've been in cahoots since before that session. And this is all scripted. I mean, that's the only smart way to play the game.
Yes. Plus, Obama is quietly disarming the United States military. He's dismantling our nuclear arsenal. If he gets his way, he wants to take it down. Well, if he had his way, he'd take it down to zero. I mean, when you look at the big picture, when you put the puzzle together, it's clear that one of two things: either the people in charge of the government in this nation are total idiots and are making the worst decisions you could possibly make, or they are deliberately making the worst decisions you could possibly make for the purpose of destroying the republic.